As much as I thought I knew about the writing of Frederick Buechner, I was surprised by something of his I read a few months ago. He wrote, "At his heart, most theology, like most fiction, is essentially autobiography." Most theology is essentially autobiography. At first, I disagreed, since this statement could suggest a focus on the self that could cause us to look away from the deep needs of the world. But what I hear Buechner saying is that it is in our own stories, our own lives, that we find those encounters that shape our sense of the sacred. The aspect of my personal theology that was opened and enlarged this past fall came through reading and thinking about Mary Magdalene. At first, I was surprised and really disheartened to learn that by the 8th century, Mary Magdalene had been fully transformed from the role she plays in the New Testament. There, she's the first witness to the resurrection and a herald for the new life. But under the influence of some powerful theologians, her story had been conflated with those of several other women in the New Testament, and she was turned into a symbol of a repentant, fallen woman, someone who could be a role model only because she knew her flaws and knew her place. But I also learned that in the first centuries of the early church, before her story was twisted in a dark and unfortunate way, Mary Magdalene played a very different role. She's a central figure in what are called the Gnostic Gospels, those Christian texts that didn't make it into the canon and were later deemed heretical, but are now being rediscovered and studied. She was a very powerful figure in many early Christian communities, a leader and a teacher, a visionary and the messenger of revelations. She's called the woman who knew all, and she's considered the chief female disciple, the first witness and herald of new life. Mary Magdalene tells us the kingdom is here and now. She tells us eternal life is now. In those Gnostic traditions, she's the one who best heard Jesus and understood his teaching. So if, as Buechner suggests, I can look to my own journey of reading and research as a way to arrive at some personal theological truth, what did I learn? For me, the most important truth is the fact of this remarkable woman, the first to whom the resurrected Jesus appeared, the first to speak the deep, deep truth that the story did not end in failure, but in hope and even in triumph. One scholar has said that she's like a great poet, a continuing presence who does not die, but only needs to be given the opportunity to walk among us in the flesh. Some weeks, the Celtic Evensong here at St. Stephen's includes these words, spoken by the celebrant. "We praise you for Mary Magdalene, first witness of the resurrection, and for all the women and men who have been trusted and empowered by you." In one of the Gnostic texts, we are told to speak the truth to those who search for it. I like to imagine Mary Magdalene speaking her truth to all of us who are here and searching. I like to see her as a presence that is with us still, not erased, but here, and helping us understand what it means to witness and to know the miracle of Easter.